You're watching TVP World special coverage from the Ukraine Recovery Conference in Rome. And joining me now is the First Deputy Speaker of Ukraine's Parliament, Oleksandr Korniyenko. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for the invitation.
Can I start with the repeated overnight air assaults from Moscow? Does that show Vladimir Putin is not interested in peace?
Absolutely. I don't know how it looks like from the Warsaw or from Rome, but from Kiev it's very exactly, looks like Russia only increased level of attacks, only increased level of different way to attacks, only for last months. And First Lady Elena Zelensky today shared these numbers, these digits, more than 350 missiles, and particularly about 80 ballistic missiles, and about 5,000 of drones, about to all territory of Ukraine. And now, it's more seems like some escalation in terms of negotiation, because on the other hand we have negotiation. It's very useful, for example, for returning our prisoners, because for this time we return a lot of them, several thousands, and part of them who were injured or with bad conditions, and we return them. It's also very important. But if you talk about the main object of this negotiation to establish the prolonged ceasefire, now it's impossible from the side of Russia because of position of Russian Federation, because of increasing level of attacks to Ukraine.
And Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk addressed leaders and said this is a war between civilization and barbarism. Is he right?
Absolutely. Russia, it's some medieval ages country without any respect to human rights, without any respect to rule of law. After they occupied some territories that we made 2 years ago in near Kiev region, in Kherson, Kharkiv region, we only found there, places of tortures, lots of victims of different tortures, massacres, rapes, etc. And if you talk about situation near Kiev and Bucha region, for example, and other one, all time it also was absolutely barbaric, stolen of some things, that we use in everyday mode, from toasters and some, these toilets, and terrible. I can imagine in the 21st century, in the center of Europe, such behavior of people. Something very, very from old times.
There's a lot of talk here about Ukraine's recovery and reform. Briefly, on President Ursula von der Leyen announcing a new EU flagship reconstruction fund, she says Europe is literally taking a stake in Ukraine's future. How important is what is happening here, this discussion about recovery and reconstruction before even a ceasefire is struck?
It's very important. You see, I'm here for third time. First time I was in London, second Berlin, and third time here in Rome. All these conferences were with big including of local authorities. Here we have representatives of all regions of Ukraine, and I think about 100 cities. And most of them signed here very good commitments with Western partners, with private enterprises and private assets, not with private, with state, general agency, anyway. It's all about some very important local project right now. It's about energetic. It's about changing energetic facilities for local hospitals, schools, and someone else to green energy, for example, using solar panels. We have a big project with UNICEF. It's about making shelters in school, because in some region very close to front line, like Zaporizhia, Kharkiv, Dnipropetrovsk, it's very hard to give offline education without shelter, because all time it's alerts. Or if you talk about Zaporizhia, any school in Zaporizhia work only in shelter, because time of ballistic attack can be 1 minute, and you can't replace 300 children, in one moment, etc. And but if you talk more general, it conference only named like a recovery conference. I think it's conference of Ukrainian friends. It's conference of the friends of Ukraine. And it's about, you can analyze speeches of my President Zelensky, of First Lady Elena Zelensky. It was not about, some unicorn plans, about some futures, trillions of dollars and someone else. It was about our necessary right now. Air defense, together compounding of different drones and together production of different military products and drones and etc. Investment to Ukrainian military production in general, because we can use by our possibility only 1/3 of our capacity. We can increase our capacity twice and once more twice next time with support and with investment from the European side. Very beautiful speech about people oriented. Orientation in all these processes. We need to think about people, how we can make their life easier in these hard conditions and circumstances. And that's why it's placed to change some argues, to find new argues for partners. Very important words of Chancellor Merz about including and involving United States much more to European side, because we are in one values, we are in one places. Of course, for last weeks we observed a change in position of administration to, I don't want to say the great support of Ukraine, like maybe it can be, but about more justice position and more clear position as for Ukrainian, because for us all time understandable that Russia is aggressor. It's you can't do any matters with Russia, and they should to be punished all over the world. But position of administration to make dialogue with Russia, and all our efforts were about deliver this understanding that it's not a good idea to start, find some compromises with Russia about some things that they never will stop. Because while we only give to Russia some base to this the aggressive annexion of our territories, it will be next. And we all understand that Russia wants all Ukraine, all our territory, all our people, all our mind, and its empire ambitions. I hope next days will be fruitful. We start right now. We will start panel discussion in different dimensions. It's very important, and about EU agenda, EU integration. It's about business diminution. It's about human capital diminution. It's very important because we feel lack of labor forces, like maybe any countries, but we feel it much more because we also have depopulation, but we also have immigration, lot of immigration to Poland particularly, but to Western Europe in general. And for us, very important to keep this mood of resilience to this big threat, in one time to keep this high level of productivity for people in business and production. So, of course, we're a big agriculture country, and it's now not so, business where you need a lot of hands, but, all time we need to work about giving some better condition to workers in our country also.
You mentioned the administration. I assume you mean the Trump administration changing its dialogue, I guess,
yeah,
in terms of the US position in the last 6 months since President Trump came to office. How worrying is President Trump to Europe or to Ukraine? We saw, for example, with the Patriot missiles or the air defense system, some of them were held back and then now they're being released again, but it seems like there's uncertainty around what support Ukraine might receive.
I don't mind that it's uncertainty. It's their policy. It's their own choice how to.
Is that hard for Ukraine?
It's not hard. It's it's not hard as that. For example, some situation with European partners for last years, while we had commitment about 1 million of shells, for example, in 1 year, and we receive it in 2 years. It's it's not the same, but all time it's very hard circumstances. It's big war, the biggest war from the Second World War. It's the biggest war in Central of Europe. Last 20, 30 years, Western world, despite of United States, of course, didn't work about their security. We should, to be clear. We talk about NATO countries, despite of United States. It's all, was about some human rights and social guarantees and some development of economy, etc., etc. Discussion about different policies, discussion about enlargement EU, how it better, Brexit and someone else. At the end of the day, we now have a situation in when it's not so simple for big countries, even for United States, to make fast decision about using something, gathering something, send something. It's very. I don't want to make primitivo of all these cases. It's not so simple. We need all time to recognize it like very comprehensive histories, because we know a lot of conflict in the world, Middle East, and not only Ukraine, unfortunately. On the other hand, of course, it's very important to keep a connection between presidents, between security advisors, between ministries of defense, and I think it's all on the right way. We have on our side connection with representatives and senators all time, both parties, bipartisan support, bipartisan connection, and even with different colleagues from different, part of parties. And of course, for last time we start to work not only with MPs, but even with society in the United States. We send more than 30 MPs to different states, to different small cities in Bible Belt, on the west part, to East Coast, anyway, to center of this agriculture region, Oklahoma, and to promote what is Ukraine fight about, what is the war, because it's very important to send, to say some trust about this war.
And lastly, briefly, are you confident that Ukraine's EU and NATO accession are still on track?
Yeah, absolutely. EU is still on track, exactly. I expect good news from this presidency of Denmark. I think we're very thankful for Poland, for your presidency. It was fruitful for Ukraine in terms of screening, in terms of finding mechanic how we can make quicker on the next stages. But of course we need to make this political decision to open first clusters, and today we heard optimistic prediction from the side of Ursula von der Leyen that it can be, and Madam President very clearly sent this message. On the other hand, if you talk about our capacity, we very hard work about it. We first country, and I would share it on behalf of Parliament, the first country who sent MPs and all work in negotiation small groups, 32 groups, more than 200 MPs. We promoted it to make process of adoption next legislation more simple and more faster. And we understand that we will not have dozens of years like Poland had. We will have maybe 1-2 years to adopt all of this legislation, dozens of acts, it's hundreds of acts. If we talk about NATO, of course, it's more up to political decision of big countries. But now we understand that results of last summit in Hague was not bad for Ukraine, was not bad wording, was not bad feeling. And for us, much more important that it was not bad for country members. and all these fears about US leave Europe alone, etc., and Europe will not find this 5%. It was all propaganda of Russia, because all in all, it was brilliant summit with brilliant outcomes, with good inspiration, psychological atmosphere here. It's not that. That's why we keep. Not, it's not like first love feeling. We understand that we need some time, we need some way to this. It will be not easy. It will be hard road for us, but we're able to do it for our country and for our society. More than 75% of Ukrainians support integration to EU, and about 70% to NATO. It's enough to make any reforms. It's enough to understand that Ukraine is Europe, Europe is Ukraine, and NATO is the same situation.
First Deputy Speaker of Ukraine's Parliament, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Deku.
Thank you, thank you. And that's all for this exclusive interview here from the Ukraine Recovery Conference in Rome. I'm Aaron Dahmen. Goodbye for now.